when we talk about plastic in the waste stream, in Latin America and the Caribbean in particular, on average, it accounts for 7 to 12% of the total waste by weight. What we need to recognize, though, is that plastic is quite voluminous, and therefore plastic pollution is much more visible than the other types of pollution, because even though it just represents a small percentage by weight, by volume, it's significantly more. For Caribbean countries in particular, although this represents an average, in some countries I've seen plastic waste quantities as much as 19 to 21% in Trinidad, for instance, and in St. Lucia. So what are some of the Caribbean initiatives? One of the things the Caribbean was quite good at was implementing a number of single-use plastic bans, starting with Antigua and Barbuda in 2016. They were one of the first islands to do so in the Caribbean, and since then a number of others have followed suit. When the ban was introduced in Antigua and Barbuda in 2016, it was a ban on single-use shopping bags in particular. Since then, Antigua and Barbuda has gone on to implement other single-use plastic bans, including that of straws and styrofoam. And also a number of other countries have joined that. So Belize, US Virgin Islands, Colombia, Barbados, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, they have all implemented bans on different types of single-use plastics. One of the countries that haven't implemented any bans at this point in time is Trinidad and Tobago. We have spoken about it in Trinidad since 2016, the implementation of a ban on styrofoam. Unfortunately, that has not materialized just yet. Going on to other initiatives. So one of the most successful initiatives certainly in the English-speaking Caribbean is the deposit refund system that exists in Barbados. So as far back as 1986, Barbados implemented a Returnable Containers Act. And through that act, a deposit is placed on beverage containers, and that deposit is refunded when the empty beverage container is returned. And that has created quite a dynamic informal system in Barbados, where people drive around the country, cycle around the country, picking up plastic waste bottles and bringing it back to the depot. So you have a picture there of bags of plastic that have been brought in for recycling at the depot. And the system operates quite well because there's that inbuilt financial incentive in the system. One of the challenges with this is that it applies only to the items that the law covers. So in the case of the Returnable Containers Act in Barbados, it's specifically for beverage containers.